It has been a day of record-breaking temperatures across the United Kingdom, more than 40 degrees Celsius for the first time. The UK's top temperature today was in Coningsby in Lincolnshire, where it hit 40.3 degrees, according to the provisional figures. But more than 30 weather stations across England beat the previous record of 38.7 set in July 2019. And Scotland had its hottest day ever. 34.8 degrees Celsius was recorded in Charterhall in the Borders.
We've been beating records by 1.5, 2 degrees, and really quite an extensive region of over 35 degrees. And this is really unusual. These are high temperatures over a broad area in England, so quite surprising.
Just look how today's temperatures compare to previous records. In 1976, it peaked just shy of 36 degrees. It was 27 years before that record was broken. 16 years after that, it hit 38.7 Celsius. Just 3 years later, and we've got today's new record. Who would have thought over 40 degrees in the UK? And it...
Really ought to be a critical warning for everyone in this country, but especially our policymakers, that climate change is not something to be ignored. It's a really critical issue that we have to address as a country and as a world.
First thing organisations can do is make sure their heatwave plans are suitable, they're fit for purpose, and they're going to work when the next heat wave kicks in. And as individuals, I think we can recognise that heat waves are not fun things to enjoy. They can be really damaging and they can really affect our health.
Well, you walk from shadow to shadow, so anywhere that you have to stay in the sun for a long time, that's off limits. So we'll have to deal with sticking in places like we are now, as opposed to walking next to the Thames or any places like that.
Wennington on the outskirts of Greater London, which you can see for yourselves. A major incident is being declared by the London Fire Brigade, not just because of this incident in Wennington, but because of a number of fires starting right across the city, and southern England is in these soaring temperatures. The record temperature for the UK has been broken today, over 40 degrees centigrade. The UK hit that new record, 40.3 to be precise, in Coningsby in Lincolnshire, and a temperature just slightly below that was recorded at Heathrow Airport in West London. But let's concentrate on this conflagration in Wennington in Greater London. More than 100 firefighters are battling this fire there, and a large number of fire appliances as well. It appears to have started, well, some say in grassland, but there are conflicting accounts. It's also been said it may have started in a scrapyard. This is, of course, the outskirts of London. Some reports say it started an explosion in a scrapyard and then has spread to the tinder-dry grassland, setting fields ablaze. And as you can see for yourself, that's a row of garages, it seems, on fire. Several homes also, the previous shot we had for you, several homes have been destroyed and are still burning in the blaze. Also a church, and it seems that there are a number of fires there burning throughout that area. Clearly, firefighters have been able to extinguish some of them, but still a lot of work to do, it seems.
Well, interestingly, London's actually one of the sort of greenest cities in Europe in terms of the amount of green space that there is, even in central London. So you're right to point to the fact that the suburbs tend to have more grassland, more fields, more woodland. But actually, we do see significant areas of green spaces in central London as well. So at first, it may appear that wildfire and grassland fires in particular are not always a major issue for urban brigades like London Fire Brigade. Actually, that's not the case. We do have significant areas of green areas in central London and on the outskirts. So it's very much a clear and present threat for us to make sure that we're prepared and ready to respond to these incidents as and when they occur. So the situation is being brought under control. It still remains very, very dynamic because, as you can see in your pictures, where you've got areas that appear to be out, they can reignite very, very quickly, particularly given the very, very dry nature of the land that it's currently on. So we are going to have our resources there for a significant period of time, making sure that we're turning over and damping down to prevent any further escalation of the incident and stopping any chance of a reignition. which is something that is real prevalence when you're dealing with these types of incidents because of the nature of the ground and its dried condition at the moment. Any small spark or any area that we do not put out properly could run the risk of reignition. So we will have resources there throughout the night, making sure that we're bringing this incident under control. And required the full resource of the London Fire Brigade to be able to bring those incidents under control. These climate-related challenges that we know we are now facing are things that we are properly putting into our longer-term strategic planning to make sure that the brigade is as resourced and as prepared as it possibly can be to deal with these incidents as and when they occur. But the position that London finds itself in is that we have got well-rehearsed, well-practiced, multi-agency plans in place to deal with exactly this type of challenge when it's actually pan-London. And actually that's been brought to bear throughout today. And as I say, I would just once again put credit towards our firefighters and officers and control staff and emergency service partners who have worked incredibly hard in extremely arduous conditions to bring these incidents under control. So we've not had formal reports on the number of casualties come through yet, because as you can see, this still remains a very dynamic incident. So we're still waiting on the latest information as far as casualty numbers are concerned. What I can say is that we've got significant resource at the scene and bringing this incident under control as quickly as possible. But obviously this will be subject to significant investigation to try and ascertain the cause of the fire. But at the moment, I'm unable to comment on any potential casualties.
Well, thank you for that.